There are so many reasons that October is not a popular time for garden videos. And one of those is because we're just coming to the end of pretty much everything and it starts to look a bit of a mess. But what I want to show you today is not just the messy bits and the, oh, do I really need to do that now bit, but just what's left that we really can still appreciate and still get so much from our garden at this time of year. Greenhouse, empty. Apart from those chilli plants at the end, which I've pretty much harvested all of the chilies from, but I'm just going to keep them there, see what happens. Of course, one of the major noticeable things at this time of year is that the light starts to fade so quickly. It's not even 4 o'clock and we're mid-October and the sun is dipping behind the clouds now, so I'm going to get a move on, otherwise I'm just going to disappear completely. But I thought I'd do it slightly different today and take it, instead of taking you around a bed at a time like I normally do, I just thought I'd show you what is and what's not going on from like more of an overall view. So this is the lower half of the plot, and really most of the beds now are either coming to an end or they've been planted up and just waiting for next year. So for example, in here we've got a few onions, which it looks like the birds have pulled most of them up, so they need some attention. Over there we've got what was some, oh, I can't even remember what was in there, but we've got the self-seeded cosmos next to it as well. Now that cosmos is all coming to an end, and much as deadheading it will help to keep it going for as long as possible, it really is coming to an end now, so I'm leaving it as it is. It can self-seed again, and I might transplant the seedlings this year to somewhere where they're not going to get in the way. Behind there we've got the swede. We've done really well with the swede, or in the States I think you call it rutabaga over there. So that's really good. And I was just talking to an allotment neighbour about how it's this time of year when the nights are drawing in, we're lighting the fires, we're lighting the candles, and our body starts to ask for those beautiful root-based casseroles, and it's at this time of year that we're starting to get those from the garden. So we've got some swede over there, we've got a lovely row of kohlrabi behind me here, which not only the greens are fantastic for the chickens, but I didn't even know we'd planted any. I think Mike snuck some in between the red cabbage. So we've got some of that. We've got a tiny bit of purple sprout and broccoli left. And really, the last of the cauliflower, a few ropey lettuce, and that's the bottom end done. So yeah, you can see what I mean about it. It's just really, you know, looking at what you've had and what's going to happen. It's that intermediary time of the season, not the end of a season, but really the beginning of the next season, because the ideas start now. So now you're seeing the lower half. Let's go and see what's going on in the upper half. So here we are at the top quarter really. This is where we've got the central path here, which has got the beans either side. Oh my goodness, the beans this year. Never known a year like it. But they are still going. I'm leaving them on the vines to dry, because what I'm going to be using are the actual pulses inside rather than the actual pods. So 2 reasons: either to rehydrate and use again in stews and things throughout the winter, or to use the seed for next year, because I think it's the Blauhild that I grew on this side and the Cos Violette that were absolutely fantastic. Saying that absolutely fantastic just means that they grew, because all the other beans, as I say, were a bit of a wipeout. But what we have got here, we've got the last of the chard, including the peppermint chard over here. We've got the cabbage here, still under netting, because we've still got an absolute host of whitefly ravaging it. We haven't been picking this as much as we should, but the chickens again have certainly been enjoying it. But the best thing this time of year, it's standalone, just such a beautiful crop. I mean, look at that. I know you can, you know, it's come up to here before, but the Cavalo Nero kale, it's just beautiful. Few little whitefly on it. Again, I did do a video about freezing kale a year or so ago. I'll put a link to it at the end in the comments below or the description. But it's brilliant, and if you do suffer with low iron, you can see by looking at it that is going to do you the world of good. So yeah, that's pretty much a staple crop in our house over the winter. So absolutely thrilled with that. As I say, we've got cabbage here, we've got red cabbage at that end that we were hoping would last till Christmas, but don't think it's gonna. But yeah, if you just look at this bit, you just think it's a bit of a jumble, it's a bit of a mess. But the fact is, we're approaching the end of the year and we have still got things producing in our garden. And we've got to be thankful for that, haven't we? Let's look on the other side. Okay, you can tell more over here that this is near the end of its productive life for the year, but the teepee of beans is still growing. But what gets me is, I don't know if you remember, but I sowed these beans really late, and I didn't really think I'd have a chance of anything cropping, and saying that there's nothing cropping. But I watched Will over at the Flying Gardener go and take a look at Will. He's got an immaculate garden. It's beautiful. And yeah, he seems to do really well with things, because he planted his, I think, about the same time as me. And he's been picking bowlfuls of beans off his. So I don't know what he does. However, what you can see that this is in the shadow of the rest of the beans. And like I say, it was just a patch that became available that I planted them in. So we've got plenty of flowers, or we've had plenty of flowers, but as yet no beans. But you never know, I might come around and do the November tour. Oh I've got a bean. Oh, brilliant. I'll show you this. Can you see that? There we go, Will. Take that. Okay, so yeah. So it was worth putting in, because if we've got beans forming, surely, unless we get some really severe weather coming, there might still be time for a bit of a crop. But yes, this bed is very definitely at its end now. Beans staying up as they are on the other side for the actual beans inside, and ready to start again next year. The sweet corn this year have done terribly. I'm imagining, I'm blaming the heat during the summer for all sorts of things, but I think that was probably what knocked them back at an early stage, because they were putting in plenty of time. They were hand pollinated, they were nurtured, but really I think we've had about 3 cobs off the whole thing. So yeah, need to do better next year with those. Take a look at the carrot bed though. That's not looking very good, is it? That is what I would call a bed of shame. But if there's still some carrots in there, great, that'll do. Is again, carrots, not great this year, must do better. And I think pictures speak louder than words here when you see just how many apples have fallen off our cooking apple tree. We have picked buckets full. We have got them in the freezer, we have given them away to friends, we have made crumbles, and we have still got more to come. There is no way that we can keep up with the amount of apples that are falling from this absolutely glorious tree. But there are some talks of it being a mast year, which is when trees are putting on a special effort to make sure that they will survive into the years ahead, because they've been put under stress this year. So yeah, something else. We'll go into it further another time, but I think when you look at the amount of apples on the ground, oh my goodness, I wish we had an apple press. Okay, it's been a bit different this week because, to be honest, there's not as much to show as there is in the middle of the summer. So hopefully what I've done today is be able to reassure you that even at the tail end of the year, when the garden looks so neglected, so messy, all you want to do is go outside and tidy it up. I tend not to. That's a spring job for me. We can still go round and appreciate the odd pops of veg here and there, and even the odd pop of colour. So yeah, I'll leave a link to my previous tours, to a playlist of my previous tours down below. Come along, give me a comment, give me a like, and I'll see you again very soon. Take care.